He's completely offline.
It's Facebook is the Meta's the parent company of Facebook, right? And Instagram and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I think they're trying to eventually rename it all Meta, like the Metaverse.
Meta Platforms, formerly named Facebook.
Yeah, it's like the
completely
artist formerly
offline.
known as Prince.
Facebook is the Meta's the parent company of Facebook. No,
I was thinking lots of things to say then, but I thought best not to say them.
Oh, you can say whatever you want on this. I mean, this is
I
session.
fucking hate social media. I fucking hate it.
I agree. I mean, we're on. For all of you who are listening or watching this out there, perhaps this is like session 21. So, like, these are the diehards. There's nobody else. Like at this point, so I think we can kind of get away with anything. If you're here now, you're with us. So you might as well like and subscribe.
Yeah, ring that bell. Help out our aneuristics, whatever they're called. Our pooly legs.
Get involved in the comments and eventually come into a game.
If you're still here,
I know, right?
You deserve what you get.
Adam joined us for a while. He was cool, but he just couldn't make the time. But Adam,
right.
He had commented and stuff. Let's do a brief recap here. Let me get a sip of my soda.
I need Conan players.
I need Star Frontier players.
Ooh, Star Frontiers.
Ooh, you might have just gotten yourself a couple. All right, so where we last left off, you and your companions had been traveling north from Hommlet up to the notorious village of Nulb, and you had been taking the high road, and it was supposed to take 3 days by foot, 2 days on horseback. You've been going on horseback. Your first day of journey, actually, you didn't have really any problems, much at all, and kind of was a peaceful journey. Second day, however, as you were traveling along, you came upon a disturbing scene as the rain began to pelt down on the grounds below, muddying the path even and making it even more rutted than it was before. You saw a carriage stuck in the mud, sort of half dangling, half over, almost like half knocked over at a precarious angle. A dark-skinned elven man, but not dark-skinned like drow elf, but like high melanin content elf was fighting off 3 trolls, and he was using wizardly powers, and he was doing okay, but it was clear that he would not have been able to survive the battle without your help, and that is exactly what you did. You rode into combat. And you offered help, ultimately defeating the trolls, but not before the wizardly elf was splattered into many, many bits, ripped apart by one of the trolls. Oddly, however, after the battle was over, the elf reformed together, coming back together into his elven form, and you came to... He did have a ring on his finger. I think he might have been kind of meta talking about this, but we can say maybe you were speculating as well. He did have a scaled ring on a scaled silver ring on his finger, and he did finally come back together. During that process, though, you had tied him up, bound him, and kind of sat him in the doorway of his little mobile laboratory, which Greyhawk had been kind of looking over, I guess you might say, kind of poking through things, trying to find out the identity of who this person was. And Tarkus Morningstar, your priest, had spent some time bringing him back. And so as the man came back to life, came back to awareness, Greyhawk stepped out of the laboratory to not be caught snooping, and the man professed. The man came to, and he says, I must thank you. You have saved me from these trolls. I owe you a great debt. And he kind of like looks down at the wrappings around his arms and legs.
Yes, sorry about those. I haven't really seen anything regenerating quite that way. It was similar to the monsters you were fighting, so we did not know if you could be trusted.
Don't
He
mention
says-
it, I say, rolling off the back of the horse. That's
He's like-
nothing, didn't I?
So like about this time, Roland, who was like not even fighting, maybe you kind of came to. You know, it's funny actually. You watched the video, Chris. So let's say that that's what happened. Like you kind of came to, and through bleary eyes, you saw the whole thing happen, and you were like, they got it.
Yeah, yeah. I get Hessian's small sack and take some suet and raisin out into my hands and start munching on it. I thought I was hallucinating when I saw your body explode. And I just look surprised and carry on eating.
Oh, no, it is... My magic brought me back. I'm fortunate to have such an ability at my disposal. He says, perhaps you wouldn't mind untying me?
Of course.
Does anybody have etiquette?
No.
I doubt it, but let me check.
I've got drink beer.
Now, Greyhawk,
Yes, I do have etiquette.
You're an icy
deserts.
desert elf. Then actually, he is well, you can tell just from Elven heritage kind of thing that he's also from the south and has darkened skin. You know, sort of the southern elves. Probably not a desert elf, but more like the suburban, like, you know, the cities of the south.
Okay.
Those who have been sort of civilized in the desert regions, more like that. Tucktrin, go ahead and make an etiquette check.
All right, so let's see. Etiquette is charisma. That's okay. Let's see. Straight charisma roll. I rolled a 12 out of 15.
Yeah, so there's something he has you know, etiquette, how much you know about human etiquette, this to be decided, but you can at least gather that he has an air of aristocracy about him.
Okay.
Like you notice that, like,
just the way he talks, the way he carries
the way
himself.
he talks, his fashion, like what he was wearing, you just kind of, you know, you just get that sense.
Okay. Do I notice any like emblems on him, like heraldry style emblems, or?
Do you have heraldry?
I have.
Probably
Probably
had
not.
heraldry was the knight. Sir
You know-
Roderick probably had heraldry.
You are right. No, I don't. And
Oh, yeah.
then you know what? I wouldn't know human heraldry anyway, or elven heraldry anyway.
Yeah, you would. If you've got heraldry, it's across all fields, isn't it?
I
Sorry,
think
I'm
it
not-
would. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it only because it's more of like understanding symbology, not necessarily anything about a specific
Totally agree.
and what those symbols stand for, rather than a specific culture.
Might be a minus, but you could still roll.
I think so too. I mean, you can still roll even if you don't.
Bob, I ask him outright. I go, you posh looking man, but a common soldier. And we head up beyond the north, or wherever direction we're going. Say, looking around a bit drunk. Yes. Surely you wish to accompany us then as we go. Are you travelling this way? And I point up the road. We head yonder to Nulb. Where be you going? With your no horses now. It's a shame you can't put the ring on a tooth.
He says, I too was traveling to the north to Nulb. I seek ingredients to create potions dealing with water breathing and swimming and such. Rare ingredients found along the rivers. Some of these ingredients find their way in on the riverboats that come to port at Nulb. Otherwise, I wouldn't be normally interested in making such a journey.
A man like you will be picked clean in Nulb. You best stick close to this group, unless you want to lose everything.
He raises his eyebrow. He says, "A man like me, eh?"
A man of your wealth and stature. Because I've got really bad charisma, so even though I'm trying to say nice things, they're really bad. Yes, look, with your buttons and everything, looking all posh like you've never touched shit. So.
Jesus Christ.
He has a smile on his face. Certainly, I just keep reading your name, Castafart. I don't know why you're Castafart. But Roland wouldn't necessarily pick up on it because of that low charisma. It's certainly, if anybody, I think maybe Dom is probably Dom and Pete both understand the Southern smile. That doesn't have any warmth or genuine, there's probably something in English that's very similar. Maybe yes. Okay. So that's what you're getting, but I don't know if you would recognize it or not.
Probably not, no. Because I literally show my fangs and go, I'm smiling when I'm smiling. Yes, I've got a bone to pick with a man in Nulb. Funny you should mention the waters and the river, for he's a riverman. Yes, good squint eye. I seek to find him. I'll give him a good punch about the face. He competed for me for a wife, one of the gypsy women. I will have him beat before I will have that woman. She's a fine red-haired temptress.
The kind of story that no doubt the bard shall speak about in future generations. But for the meantime, would you mind untying me?
Why have you tied him up, guys? I was looking really surprised for a second.
I explained that already. I approach him to Untime. Before Untime, I do want to ask him, do you know who's sent these creatures to seemingly kill you on the road?
Because, unfortunately, based on my understanding of this region, sometimes even just traveling the roads can invite such dangers.
It's from the look of the creature, from the way the creatures reacted, it seemed like their goal was to kill you.
I'll kill anything. So, you, me, a dwarf. So looking at Tarqui.
Yes, but
trolls are not known to let a meal pass by or a potential treasure.
I don't think they even see with their eyes. And they just sense things. I don't know much about them, but
they're a lot more intelligent than I think they're given credit for. I have no issues with untying this person, but don't try anything. As you see, we're more than capable.
No, surely not. I wish only to make it on to Nulb and set up my laboratory at a vacant space within the town. From what I understand, there are vacant properties easily taken.
Listen, it's a shithole with loads of empty shops. So, yes, you're bound to find a hovel, of course. But I would be wary of guarding your wares, indeed. But there are many thieves, and they will take your stuff.
He nods. He says, "This is what I have heard too." And your name is?
Roland Darkchild.
Roland Darkchild. What about you, wizard? What are you called?
My name is Grey Ash.
I admire your prowess with your spellcasting ability.
Thank you. Sorry about the whole blinding you business, but it seemed the best way to deal with multiple foes like that.
We all made it out in the end. Except for poor Barnabas. And he looks to one of the horses.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's a rough road for rides.
I hate to ask yet another favor, but would you be willing perhaps to use your horses to draw the carriage onwards to Nulb? I would be happy to invite you, Grey Ash, to join me in the cabin while your companions ride the horses.
I know how to attach a tack. Yes, and harness. I'll lead my sturdy fucking shy horse over.
Yeah, and so again, it's a really nice it's a really nice carriage, but it's more utilitarian, at least on the outside, than it is than it is decorative. I mean, think almost more like stagecoachy sort of style than really like
Settler.
Yeah, like a settler, exactly. But it's rugged and sturdy and proof from the weather. And inside, again, he's got a mobile laboratory. Everything that would be necessary to do basic experimentation, basic spell research, and all that stuff. And then a very small living quarters, which is essentially a bench, a fold-out bench that turns into that he like lays a cushion on essentially to sleep on. And then there's sort of like these several cabinets, I guess you might say, that has like notes and there's certainly his spell book is probably in there, but it's more for like he has I would hesitate to call it a library, but I guess if you have the equivalent of like 10 books, that still is a library. But it's like, just important basic information. From a meta standpoint, David, this would qualify as having a laboratory to use. I might give you some penalties for more difficult kind of things if you got use of this somehow. It's comparable. So he
what's his name again?
Almon Ahana.
Almon.
Yeah, ALMON AEHANA.
Okay. Do you have any wares for sale, Almon?
He says, I have nothing yet, but he says, you have done me a service. And he says, if you can help me a bit while on your journeys and retrieve for me ingredients that I can use in creating these potions, I'd be willing to set aside batches for you and your companions.
Oh yes, I always need a good potion of healing.
I don't really work in those kind of potions. I am here strictly speaking to research and create potions of water breathing and swimming and free action. Allows you to move freely. Now that may be of use to you as well, even outside of the water.
I don't really like water, but I can swim.
And these potions that you may assist us with if we gather these resources would be in addition to any potions or payments for assisting you with the trolls and pulling your carriage to Nulb, correct?
He says, you wish a payment for such a service?
Of course.
Thought it might have been just courtesy of the road, but very well. He says, I have little to offer, but perhaps some sort of agreement could come to. We could come to.
Tarquin, do we really have to strike a deal with him on the road? I mean, Nulb is a funny place when we get there.
I would rather discuss it on the way to Nulb than discuss it with the ears of Nulb around us.
I mean, do we really need a deal at all with this man?
You may not, but my blood was shed by those trolls as much as any other. We could have simply gone around and made our way to Nulb, but we did not. Any one of us may have fallen in the attempt. If you take your blood as worthless, that's up to you.
Yes, but he didn't
Dwarven
ask
blood
you.
carries a high price.
I agree with you in that sense, but he didn't ask you to help him.
I understand that. But he's
Very
asking
well,
us to help him now.
Yeah, yes. Just saying. I do like your negotiating style, but I'm thinking allies might be more advantageous than, dare I say it, gold.
Well, you assume we can't be both.
We can always buy
You
them.
outwit me once again, little dwarf.
Dwarven
Your mind
allies
is
are often
get in
made
your
through
boots.
exchanges of gold.
You're having this conversation too, while you're hitching up the horses. And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This is the perfect kind of conversation between the two of your characters over to this kind of work. Well, the elf, by the way, is watching you do this work.
Hmm.
He's
He's
never
check-
picked up anything in his life, has he? I say to the dwarf. I bet you he had servants to wipe his arse. Complain.
More than likely, he is an elf after all.
Oh my days.
Rude.
Sorry, Rob.
No, it's good. Hey, no, this is what I love. You don't have to apologize to me. I love this shit. You kidding me? Whether good or bad, the thing that's most important to me is that you care about the NPCs. I don't care how you care about them. All right, so you get everything kind of like set up, and he says, "Well, perhaps we should discuss some of these details before we get moving. I don't want to be expected some sort of debt that I can't repay." And he kind of like stands at the front, like stands basically to the side of the carriage and kind of like looking really at you, Tuctrin. Now he's looking directly at you. He is not looking at.
That's fine.
He says, "I presume you're the negotiator here for this deal that we're going to be making, this transaction."
It's possible, if no one else is interested.
I'll
Can I
wave a
assume
hand.
Hmm.
Have
It's
at
just-
it, Tuctrin. Have at it. I'm just here for the popcorn.
Oh, hold on. Popcorn.
Oh,
Hmm.
I can almost smell it.
How
So-
far to Nulb, Bob? Is it how far is it to Nulb?
Yeah, how far is it from here? We have like another
Well,
day travel, or
Yeah, so just so you know, Chris, I think I told you this, that there's a little bit of a debate as to the distance, as you well
Yeah.
know from this.
Right.
Yeah.
The map versus the text have two very different distances.
Correct.
So we decided to go with the longer distances in both
Fair
cases.
crack.
So it's 2 feet. It's 2 days by horse, 1 day, 3 days on foot. You went the whole first day, no problems at all. You traveled for about an hour on day 2 and came upon this. So it's still fairly early. We'll say by the time you get everything hitched up, it's about like you probably like, eat because you're like hungry. You've been like getting all this done and getting everything hitched up and everything fixed and out of the mud too, because it was like
just hungry.
it had been raining. Actually, it still is raining. So it's like raining while you're doing this. It's shit work. I mean, it's absolute shit work. All of you are miserable. Or I don't know. You decide how your character feels about that. But it's shit work. And by the time that you're done, all of you are soaked through. Except for maybe Greyhawk, because he was probably just in the wagon the whole time, or in the carriage the whole time.
Well, he's
Um,
fancy.
I wouldn't have hopped in right away. I'd have been helping out, and at least until we're on the move.
Crash is the mage, isn't he?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you,
Yeah, then-
you're elven, aren't you, as well?
Yeah,
You're
but,
just
you
an
know,
elf. Right. Just so I
I'm
can
a
get the picture of you.
I'm not like a fancy elf. I'm just an elf that lives on the wilds and stuff.
secret necromancer elf.
But do you live in the deserts, in the wilds?
I did.
Did it rain much?
No.
Like,
Never.
that's probably why you haven't got a spell then to protect us from rain. You should do one. Learn
spell
a
to
spell
protect us from rain.
to protect it. Yes, it's pissing me off. I say.
Hmm.
The water runs down the back of my new armor that the dwarf has made talk with. Look at it, it's beautiful. But yet it will chafe and ruin. I'll have to polish it again when I get nearer to Nulb.
Hmm.
A spell of that nature, a small spell, just to, stop you getting wet.
I'll consider it,
most
but
amazing.
all spell research takes a lot of time. It might not be worth it. In fact, it probably won't.
Protection from rain isn't worth it. Gosh, that's like saying swords are crap.
I cast umbrella.
Well, if you
Look at that magic item.
No, you cast Tensor's floating disc and you stand under it.
Yeah,
Wow.
you could pull it too somehow. Because you can move the disc.
You can move the disc, so it's like
Because
That's the
you
whole
just-
thing. And that's
you
why
just-
you don't. That's the reason why we would always have it when I used to was a kid. We would use it
Right.
to move treasure.
Unreal.
Hmm.
or
I
cross.
think it always follows behind
small
you. I don't
puddles,
think you can
or
have it over you.
Does it
Shield your
follow
head.
behind you?
It does.
I believe so.
Oh, I
Yeah.
would absolutely let it mod to fly over your head if you wanted it.
I
Why?
would, yeah.
It doesn't have
Homebrewed
any.
floating disc to be an umbrella.
I've never
Finest
heard
of
of that use of
homebrewers.
it. I've heard of some
Yeah.
like dodgy uses of spells, but I've not heard that one.
I would
We use
allow
it-
that. Chris,
we
would you
use it-
allow that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Unless it was damaging rain. It's
Yeah,
some
I
kind-
wouldn't let it. I wouldn't let it really prevent any damage. In fact, it could even potentially be dangerous if, like, it could get like disrupted and all the shit fall on your head. All right. So,
I take point.
all right. Yeah. So you're out in the rain, and look, rain sucks for all creatures, even bad guys. So, although you have to trudge through horrible weather all day long, once you get rolling, you get moving pretty good. And as night begins to fall, you start to see signs of civilization. As much as it is. Nope. This area is like an area of like river folk. So there are lots of creeks and smaller like waterways that make their way through here, and all kinds of people live in rustic and off the land. Not all kinds, but there are people living rustic and on off the land in this area. So it's weird as you start getting closer and closer to Nulb, you start to feel this kind of like there's something out there in the woods kind of vibe, like as you're moving through the woods, and it's both nature and maybe something not quite as I don't know, innocuous, and you just kind of have that feeling. And finally, as it gets dark, but you're able to see in the distance the lights of the village of Nulb, and are you gonna just approach the town? I mean, are you doing anything specific about how you approach the
I
town?
am.
Yeah, I know you guys wanted to maybe. Yeah, so you see the lights. It's gotten to be night. It's not the pitch blackest night of nights, but it's dark. The stars have risen as the clouds have broken apart. They'll say it hasn't been raining for the last hour or two, and you kind of have dried off a bit.
I look at the moons, Bob, because there's multiple moons, ain't there, on our Earth?
Yeah, they're shining light upon there's isn't like one like a weird shape or something?
It's like Salim, which is a smaller one, ain't there, and then a bigger one, basically.
Yeah, but I thought isn't it like a weird shape too?
It's up to you. It's your game world. Just look at the moons.
I don't
just
know,
sort of
dude.
have
Yeah,
moons, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the moon and one's about half full, the smaller one's about a quarter full. So there's light in the sky. and they're sort of distant from each other in the starscape. There's also a notable scent, even from this distance, that draws you. Well, either draws you towards the town or repels you, depending on how you want to look at it. It's sort of like the smell of like rotting fish and stank, like what is it called? Fetid water. And that ground is just moist. You know what I mean? Like you're slugging through to get to the town. By this point, but it has that really like you're close to water smell, but not the ocean smell, more like the river kind of vibe. So what are you doing?
Before we get too close, I'll take off my plate mail, stash it in a Hessian sack, and put on my studded leather.
Sounds good.
I'm not doing anything special other than throwing a cloak on because it's been raining.
I'm riding in the carriage with the two of them, so I don't care.
Yeah, Almond says, yeah, it was your intention to ride in the carriage, huh? Almond doesn't want you to ride in the carriage.
I don't really care.
Almond is not letting you. Okay, Almond says, "I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to permit you into my laboratory. It's a sacred space for those who are of an arcane background, as I'm sure you can understand. It's not meant for one such as yourself. It's not safe."
If you think we're going to split the party and let you keep our wizard in there, it's not safe for you.
Oh, he's welcome to leave at any time. Of course, I intend on making other arrangements once we get there. I didn't expect that you'd be that we'd be staying together necessarily. My intent was to utilize a bit of my abilities to explore and discern a spot suitable for my wagon for the evening and begin to set up a semi-permanent place for myself. So I assumed we'd be parting as we got to the village. Do you disagree?
No, don't disagree on that.
That being said, there are some arrangements that need to be made between myself and the dwarf, and perhaps all of you. Or have we moved on from that idea?
I'm still willing to make the arrangements, but we can have that conversation once we're all settled in Nulb. It doesn't need to be done now. And I believe my traveling companions showed some interest in your potential work. Another discussion which we can have once we're settled.
All right, so are you just all going into town then and not making an issue of it? Essentially,
yeah, I mean, we've decided on the road that we'll deal with it, but then I don't want to do it like at the gate, right? We just get in there.
I just don't.
Does anybody want to come with me?
That's all.
Sorry.
I just don't trust the guy to not do something to Greyhawk.
Yeah, if they're not allowing anyone else into the carriage, I will say, do you wish me to keep an eye on him, or would you rather me stay in view?
If you
I'm just traveling
find
in,
something
so
to learn, my friend. But if you see something that's not on the level, you let us know and we'll handle it. We'll all handle it.
You see, in orc packs, we have a man like this, and I point at the your character who's just said that will take care of it. They're like a Sigma wolf. They watch things all the while. They don't seem to be really involved. But when they need to be, they can be quite discerning. It's good to have a man like that around, especially in a place like Nulb. I'm off to the riverside to walk amongst the gypsies and see if I can find my woman. Does anybody want to come with me?
So, as you're saying that, you're kind of entering towards the town, and I put the map up on Roll20 now, and you should be able to see it. I believe I got you guys in the right spot here. And you at a point during your journey, the road to Nulb began to curve and sort of arc, progressively further towards the east, and then it started south. And this is a important. The reason why Nulb is important, and it's been noted before, is that this is really the only place to cross Immerid's Run without using magic or something like along those lines. There isn't, so people still use this road, still come through Nulb, in spite of the fact that as you're approaching it, it's that scent is just it's like burning your nostrils, the horrible scent, pervading scent, as you're getting closer and closer, especially as you get towards the water. And while there had been this unseasonably cold weather near the moat house, it's almost unseasonably hot here. Even though you would be in like late summer, kind of even approaching early fall at this point, it's very hot. And as you get closer to the river, it's like, you find yourself like, boom, like slapping at your skin from the bites that you're getting as you're approaching the town from mosquitoes and gnats and who knows what other insects. Before you know it, you're kind of scratching at yourself. Except for
me, or when we were by the moat house, wasn't it unseasonably cold?
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah, so it's the opposite, essentially.
Yeah. JB is saying this out loud to the party.
What did you say, JB?
A welcome change.
It's a welcome change until you think about it. Why is it so hot here?
Well, elemental.
Maybe it's all the shit they throw in the river.
No comment.
As you're approaching the river too, like in this area, like at you see there's like a couple of houses that line the river on this side of the river, and like they, they're you might catch a little bit of light inside, and maybe they have like their little docks. There might be a torch flickering, black smoke rising into the sky at their these little docks around them. But you can see like where there are these sort of posts that hold the docks up into the river. You looking down and there's like all this like trash like built up, and like it's all scummy. The water's like all scummy.
Some shitholes.
Yeah. You can sense, even though you can't really see it because it's dark and it's in the distance, but you can also sense that if you were to follow the river further to the east, where it's getting bigger and bigger, there's like you can sense that there's kind of a port area, I guess you might call river port. So there's some docks and stuff over in that area, although you can't really see it. You kind of like there's more activity over there. You see a couple like lanterns, kind of like lighting that area.
Mm-hmm.
You also notice that there seems like most of the buildings are just made out of turf and mud brick and crude logs or like pieces of old boats and ships and things like that. But there are a few that have stone foundations, And one of those buildings is essentially just right across the river from where you are. I'm going to highlight it here a little bit on the map as well. It's a you can tell right away that there's some sort of action happening. It's a larger it's a larger building than most within, and it has, as I mentioned, it has a stone foundation, and it's got 2 floors, a second floor, and sort of a secondary building attached to it as well. And light is pouring out through wax paper windows. You can see, glowing. There's a few surly looking characters outlined in silhouette standing out in front of the place.
Oh, we can totally right on back.
Yeah, they're yeah, I mean, actually, well, we'll see.
Is it that funny eye rock symbol?
No, you're not seeing any of that. In fact, in terms of I meant to get back to you on this, Dom, and I'm so sorry. It totally slipped my mind. But in terms of sort of any symbols or anything like that that you saw in the wizard, really, you just saw things akin to his elven nation / tribe in the south. You wouldn't call it a tribe because it's a little bit higher and than that. But he's a high elf.
So his house.
Yeah, it's like his house symbol and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You can ask a map question.
yeah, sure.
So on the map on D20, I see as part of a river a small bridge and then a small start of a small road. Is that all we see? The rest's black.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Fog or walk.
Because
Okay.
it's nighttime and the
Right,
place
yeah,
isn't
okay.
really well lit.
Mm.
So you really can't see like everything as you're entering in the town. But again, there's this one building and it's really kind of active. And as you get like a little bit closer and you're getting close to the bridge crossing. And there are, a couple of, again, surly characters like chatting across the end of the bridge, leaning up against the large posts that hold the end of the bridge. But you can see that building is most clearly some sort of tavern establishment. Looks like it might have rooms available, that kind of thing. Roland, you would know that this is the Waterside Hostel, which is sort of their. Well, Why don't you describe? Yeah. Well, maybe you can tell the players what would Roland say about this place as you guys are approaching, as you see us there.
Yes, if you want, this is an active place of different drinking types. You'll get rivermen, river pirates, gypsies, commoners, mercenaries. That of the ilk. But don't fuck about in there because they have lots of on-duty guards, really, that can shoot you from peepholes and stuff. So just don't mess about in there, honestly. I've seen many a man shot. Take your business outside, yes.
It's good to know that it's a relatively safe place to be. As long as you don't.
Well, it's a nice place if you want to fight, I say.
I've not heard that it was safe, I will say. Almon opines.
I thought you said there were guards to stop fights. But now you're saying it's good for fights.
Well, punching each other's allowed. What's wrong with you? Have you never been in a pub?
From what I've
People
understood,
punch each
the
other all the
guards,
time in pubs.
what Roland describes as guards should be really put more like mercenaries at the hire of some powerful bandit or pirate. Not so much that they are enforcing any sort of law, but just ensuring that they are the ones who remain in charge and that nobody else causes any trouble.
Yes, the biggest wolf leads the pack. He bites the other wolves to make sure that they stay in order, but he doesn't necessarily kill them. But yes, like drawing a sword or using a weapon in there, you are going to get shot. But you know, that punch and that fight, well, those things always happen in these bars.
Well, you know what they say, though, the biggest wolf never notices the smallest tick.
Mm.
On the way
I'm
here,
looking-
I want to try to find
Right,
out.
but
Sorry.
Go on. No.
I wanted to find out like why specifically he's focusing on like water breathing and these things. He said he was specializing in scrolls for, potions for. It's very specific and strange.
He says, well, I have come upon a piece of information that a powerful object that I very much wish to attain lies deep beneath an unruly sea, and I need these items to help me fully navigate my way in these underwater places.
How far away from the sea are we right now?
You're not too far away.
Okay.
I mean, it's
It's reasonable.
Chris, it's like kind of like over the hills and everything to the east, right?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So north is Ket, east is Verbonk, but just between Verbonk and another place, there's like an incut of water, and then you've got Pomarge and the Isles to the east, which are like Spain and stuff, and like they're basically like Orc and mercenary. Down to the south and the east, there's a massive open sea, and that goes over to the other side of the continent where there was a massive empire. Used to be a massive empire, and it's halved kind of over the years.
Roland is really smart about this kind of stuff. He just really gets it about He's a historian.
Only military. Only all my stuff's all to do with who's war, and I don't actually know anything useful other than like, who kills each other in that area. I can't talk about the kings and the trade. Oh, no, I've not seen such things. But I do know this. I'm leaning close to the dwarf. Tarquin, do you like a gamble?
Depends.
They have a dice pit. More.
Don't think I've ever played a dice pit. And I don't know what a gypsy is.
The gypsies, well, yes, they don't live in houses. They just wander around, mostly on the river. They have a special history. Yes, there's two types, though. But the one I want, well, she should be moored up here somewhere on this river. But they're all part of families, you see. And you have to appease the family. And marriages aren't forever in the gypsy people. When you marry, you pay a dowry, and then the bride will throw a pot on the floor.
Interesting.
And how many pieces it smashes into is how long you will stay married.
Well, that doesn't interest me, but I will accompany you to see what this dice game is.
All right, so heading into the town, at this point, it's nighttime. So for the most part, you know, people's homes are closing up for the day, and they're like either, you know, done being out about town, or they're headed to or already at, most likely, the Waterside Hostel. Now, let's see. Chris, do you think Roland would know about the
Riverside trading place?
The Boatman's Tavern and
I
Traders?
think
I mean, because
yeah.
that's actually where the dice pits
That's
are.
right, yeah. So I'm not glad it confused me. I think I might have been drunk when I came here last time. There is another pub, and they do sell things. And that might have been where the game pit is. That's a bit more orderly. But this place is more lively. So you pick, guys. I'm not bothered. I say, and I sit back. But if I see that good squinter, I'm going to knock his face off. I laugh to myself. Like,
So you presume, though, but you're able to deduce at very least that what Roland is talking about is probably in the area where they're it's sort of like a dock area, and at this point, you've kind of like made your way. Have you crossed over the bridge? Have you entered into the town now?
yeah, I have.
I would assume so, yeah.
All right, so like you're starting to notice that like people see you on the street and like they stop talking and they kind of like watch you and
I spit on one man's dog. I spit on his dog's head as I pass him.
Yeah, so there's a man, he's got a dog, he's like got like a a pretty much gray bandana, so faded from sun, and a tank top kind of style shirt, dirty, and he's got this long kind of rough dirk hanging from his side, and he's just kind of like looking at you, sucking at his teeth, and he sees Roland spit at his dog, and he just kind of looks up at Roland and just like looks him right in the eye and just like keeps picking at his teeth. He like takes his fingernail, just like picks at his teeth.
Nice dog, I say. Is it for sale?
1-8.
I ride on. That's the level of conversation in this bridge.
I just follow Roland because I don't know anything about what's happening. I don't understand this etiquette or this conversation. I'm just thinking to myself, this is why their town is dirty.
Yeah, and maybe that is because there are, you go into the town and you see like a couple of like there's like wild dogs, like just kind of like dogs roaming around. You see one ripping apart like a couple day old chicken carcass, just right off the ground. It's like as you're going down the middle of the road.
Can I just have something real brief?
Yeah, sure.
You see Roland for a second move away from the party to an orphan and give it some money, and then come back to the party.
Nice. But yeah, so you're kind of like basically like right across from the waterside hostel. But what would you like to do? It's in your hands.
I'm saying nothing, guys. I know this place too well. You need to lead the adventure here. I'm just going to punch good squid and tie if I find him, honestly. I'm going to punch him so fucking hard.
I haven't rolled yet to see if he's going to be the one that you randomly find. I'm trying really, really, really hard not to pre-plan because it says you should roll. That's
right. That's correct. There can be a raiding and everything.
I want to play it straight, so I'm not even pre-rolling it. I just want to wait for the moment.
I'm gonna follow Roland inside and just try to watch whatever this dice game is and try to figure out how they're playing it.
All right, so you guys head into the Waterside Hostel now.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's one of the bigger buildings in town. It's got fieldstone and fieldstone foundation and sewn timber walls like that look like they were actually made for this place. But it's definitely a very scurvy kind of place. There's I mean, you'd probably guess, I don't know, maybe it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock. There's a dude like passed out, like just like half lying up against the front of the building. And you're not even certainly sure that he's not dead. Like one of his eyes is open and like a fly keeps landing on it. And like who knows if he's dead or not?
Could be dead.
It's not exactly certain. It has saloon style doors, so as soon as
Fucking hell.
somebody walks through the door, a guy walks out of the door angrily. You see he's kind of, again, he's got this like sleeveless shirt, breeches, not even shoes. I mean, they're wrappings basically on his feet. Looks like a short sword tucked into his belt, covered in scars and bleached from the sun. His skin just it's ragged from the sun. Probably he looks like he's 40, but he's probably 25. And dirty hair. He's lanky and skinny. And as he's walking down, he just gives you a shoulder shrug, Roland. Like you're right up in front. He just like as hard as he can. And he doesn't really move you because you're way stronger. But he just like growls at you like as he walks by and gives you a shoulder.
I just nudge him and growl back. I thought it's appropriate, really. If he wants to continue his argument, he will. I'll just give him a good
He
shove
spits
back
on the ground. He's muttering, "God damn,
Yeah.
motherfucker's gonna get him. I'm gonna show him. Let's see what happens now."
What's the problem there? A man inside or something, I say.
He just grits his teeth at you again and then just spits through him. Gives you, like, spits pretty far, actually. Doesn't quite reach you. It doesn't reach you, but not a bad spit. And
Indeed, I thought you can spit. He's a good
storms off.
check.
He actually continues. He continues down the, like, if you would have continued straight, he goes down that road and then quickly disappears into one of the alleyways. Before we get too far into the tavern, what's JB doing? What's JB and Grey Ash? What are they up to?
Did the previous town, like the actual town people, have any symbolism? Because, like, if I wanted to find the mayor's son, like, would there be anything recognizable I'd be looking for?
Oh no. I mean, the only symbol that the town had in Hommlet was the Burns Badger symbol. Those are very free people, so they didn't have like a town symbol or anything like that. But there was the Burn Badger sign. I mean, what Elmo and Zane look like, so he's Elmo's brother.
I'm just listening out for anyone saying Otis then. It's like,
okay.
And just following everyone else's lead.
So, also, by the way, just to kind of tie up this one loose end. So, Amon says, as you're all kind of heading out, he says, I will, if you will allow me to make use of your horses for but a few more moments to stow my carriage, I would return that favor for stabling them and paying for their care for the time that you are here.
That's more than a fair deal.
He nods. I thank you for your service, and again, I do consider that there is a favor owed from me to you, and I will not forget that.
Neither will we.
He kind of he's talking to you, Grey Ash, like in a sort of respectful way, but he's talking to the others. I don't think it doesn't have the same level of respect. Let's just say when he looks around at the other.
When we leave his thing wherever we take it to, I asked him, like, "Is this where you will be residing?"
Yeah, there's an open piece of land. I'm gonna open this up. Yeah. Let's see here.
Yeah.
This up a little bit more. Won't reveal everything, but
It's a nice map.
Right? Somebody made an entire set of digital maps, and you could it was pay what you want.
It's lovely.
Very
It's
nice.
for the whole thing, and there's like so much of it. I think I might have given him 10 or maybe even $20. I was like, these are so good. I was like, this is totally worth it.
Yeah, because the in-game campaign map's a bit poo, to be honest.
It's shit. It's shit.
Yeah, you can't put it out for the players at all.
No. What does that say? Pump.
I'm trying to. Sorry.
So that's the
Um,
welcome wench there. That little building. Not wench. The riverside. That one.
This
That one
one
right
here. This one right
Oh.
here.
Okay.
That's the Waterside Hostel.
Right. That's where we are.
That's where you are.
Right. Got ya.
So the only plot of land I see that's like open right now is right here. This is an open plot of land. There's nothing on it. So he takes
What?
that. Do you see where yeah, there you go. See how that's like outlined by
Yep.
path and there's no building within? But every other one is a building within an outlined piece of land.
Yeah.
You see that? Like if you
Yeah,
look at the
yeah.
map,
Yeah.
they're all in outlines. So there's this one field that has
Mhm.
nothing. So yeah, so he takes that land. Or he just parks his wagon there.
It is
and
the
then,
gypsy way.
And then he takes it. He does tell you that the smithy is where it's the smithy and stables. And that is, and I will, you can actually hear, you can see it. It's not far from where you are actually, but you'll know where this is because he'll eventually tell you. But it's right here. Can you see this? So for people who can't see this map, of course, or are listening this, essentially it's about 6 or 7 buildings down on the right side from the Waterside Hostel is the smithy and stables. And if you turn from that point and head down sort of larger road just through one back alley, the mage has taken his carriage and he's now kind of there if you want to meet up with him at any given point. But again, you're at the Waterside Hostel and it's a again, it's one of the more significant of the buildings in Nulb, and although that's not really saying much.
Before we go in, dwarf, stick your money in your boots or down your codpiece. Very light-handed people in here, just so you know.
There's very lame-headed people out here too.
Yeah, I would definitely heed that warning and
Mhm.
get a close eye on my money.
I'll put my
Alright.
backpack like where it's underneath my cloak thing. So like I'm wearing my robe, like I got the regular clothes, then I got the backpack, and I got the robe like over it, as if it was being as you would wear it to protect it from the rain as well.
I see. So you're basically just wanting, so they would have to like literally lift up your robe
Yeah,
to get, or it's your cloak.
Yeah,
to
doing
get
something
to your
similar.
backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart.
Same.
I do a
Kind of rules of the road, wisdom of the road, I guess you might say. Typical sort of wisdom of the road. That's that you take all the normal precautions. I kind of feel like I'd love for you guys to always describe this stuff. Please do, but I also feel like you take basic precautions when you hit 3rd, 4th, 5th level. You're not like a novice anymore to a certain extent. Let me do one thing really quick though. We need
quick, before we go in. Give me that copper spare change you've got there, and have some of my gold and stick it down your loincloth so it don't get stolen. I might get a bit drunk. Now, let me make a false pouch out of this little Hessian sack here. Put this crappy change in. I'm bound to get drunk and some woman's bound to lift it off me, but at least it'll only be, a false lift. Like, she can take the copper, I don't care. But the good shit, I need you to keep hold of it.
Roland is so thoughtful for somebody so stupid.
I give a hand roll in the copper, and I start glancing around a little bit, and because it's kind of my dwarf's job back in the mountain, so I'm on like edge. I'm like, I don't fit in. Obviously, being a dwarf, I don't fit in, but I don't fit in because I'm looking around at people. I'm looking at faces. I'm like, I don't give a shit if it's rude or not. Don't care who likes it. I'm looking for people obviously everybody here looks shady to me, but when people come around, I am not hesitating, getting ready for a fight at a moment's notice.
All right, so yeah, you guys move into the common area, and it's packed. I mean, there's a good 25 people in here, all mulling about. And man, this is about the grimiest, scummiest group of people you've ever seen. The writhing bodies of riverboat men and hard living swamp rednecks, basically.
Yeah.
They are
gator catchers.
Yeah, they're exactly. They're these folk that live here off this land, and even they're speaking common, but it's like nothing you've ever heard before, and they're patting each other on the back, and Roland's right. I mean, like, you see somebody slug somebody else, and what looks like it's about to erupt into a real fight, then they kind of laugh it off, and each chug a beer, and which is, it's questionable if there's any, who knows what is in that beer, which you can smell everywhere. It's stale, beer smell, sweats, fishy kind of fish stew, but like catfish stew smell, and marsh onions, and you kind of getting all that. There's no assigned seating here. Tables, people come and go from this table to that table, all milling about. And as well, I mean, I guess Roland predicted and perhaps hoped for, there are a number of creatures of the night here, those who are willing to exchange coin for favor. And they're milling about here, interacting with the rivermen, and let's call them what they are, the river pirates, and the locals. There are a few. I don't want to overemphasize the river pirates, because there's only really a few of those. They're mostly seem to be locals. You might call them merchants. I don't know. People who came in on boats, but aren't they're not necessarily pirates.
I bet they're fucking smugglers. I say really loud.
And there's a bard twanging away and singing in the corner. Let's see how good it sounds, guys. Shall we?
Oh yeah. Man,
I barely passed my con save to not just throw up from the stench of this place.
It's yeah, so you kind of gag a bit. The music is surprisingly good for the environs. Although nobody seems to appreciate it, and the bard is spending as much time dodging beers as he is plucking at his loot. And
I'm gonna give him 5 gold, and I'm gonna buy him an ale.
All right, so the DM reaches down from above and dips his DM paintbrush in some red paint, and as JB hands across the 5 gold pieces to the bard, the DM then goes and he takes his paintbrush and he paints a big red target on the back of JB's character. It's invisible to everybody, but the DM now sees it. As everybody looks at this gleam of gold pass hands near the bard, and everybody is interested now in JB. So there's food, there's drinking, and there's a general revelry about here. There are a couple of others, though. Why don't everybody make a perception check?
Oh, a roll? Oh. Here's my 1d20.
16, just
I got a
made.
7.
9.
So nothing for you then.
Roland is perceptive, right?
Yeah, I passed.
Oh, he said 9.
9.
Yeah, you want to roll under perception, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I rolled over.
You rolled over. Okay, so Uh, so you you're all wrapped up in everything that's happening. Or David Greyash is all wrapped up in everything that's happening. I mean, he's getting swept this way and that way. And as much as he was given fair warning by Roland before coming in, this is just, it's so intense. This everything that's going on right now, the smells, the activity, the loudness of it, the bodies, you know, you're kind of getting you can't even get out of the way, you know what I mean? Like you feel like you're all the way in the way, you're just not able to perceive much. The rest of you though, however, do kind of get a chance to take account of like what is happening in this place. And it looks like you know, again, there are some there's prostitutes within, for sure, both male and female, and there are I don't know, I mean, you just, there are, I mean, anybody could be considered suspicious, but there are some who are looking maybe a bit more suspicious than others, milling about through the crowd. This isn't really like a surprise, you know, or anything like that. It just seems like that's what happens here. But you also do notice that there are a couple of figures within. There seems to be, there's a couple of wenches who seem to be kind of in charge, and they're moving about through the crowd. One is a dark curly haired woman, you know, sort of full buxom, definitely takes up space in the place, but also owns it. She's kind of pushing people around and giving as much as she's getting from the customers, and seems to really be able to kind of navigate through that. And then there's a red-haired woman who seems to be a bit younger, but she's sort of playing the kind of innocent, you know, embarrassed kind of like scheme, but it's very clearly to all of you a scheme, and it's probably it's clear to probably all of the customers as well, but they don't really care. You know, it's kind of like a little game that they're playing. But you also notice that there are two, I don't know, you might say people that are kind of keeping an eye on things in a more significant way. First is the barman. And I actually am going to just show you the picture of this because Chris is going to really love this as an old school fan of this game. But the 5th edition version, reprinted version of these, the Goodman Games ones, which are fucking fantastic. We're playing the actual real module, the old module, but I have these and they're really great. They got the old school artists to draw some of these NPCs that were not even fleshed out at all. So Chris, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to show this picture of the barman, Watts.
What?
You know, so you'll see
him.
There's a picture of the barman. So don't look at the stats. It's 5th edition stats anyway.
That is totally what? Totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there is no picture of the hostler, Dick Wrench, but I will describe him to you.
Dirk Wrench.
No, it's not Dirk, it's Dick.
Oh, okay.
It is, since that's how it's written in the the module. Now he is there is a thick, well-dressed but greasy looking man sitting at a kind of a table near the back of the main bar room. It looks like they're operating a hostel here as well, so there are, you know, folks can rent rooms, and you figure that some of those rooms are getting rented at less than a full night's rate, and he's kind of over there, And you get a sense too that he's kind of keeping an eye on the men and women who are plying their wares within the hostel. And but you know, as you kind of look over, you can see somebody gets a little too rough with one of the women, and one of the out of towners. Maybe call him a smuggler. Maybe call him just a general scoundrel. And this man gets up, this huge man, he gets up and he picks the guy up by his collar and just lifts him up off the ground and just 3 times, boom, 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 breaks his fucking face. And takes a couple of quick steps towards about the middle of the common room and hefts and throws him. And people move out of the way, and like the guy kind of slams and rolls and is sort of like half out of the saloon doors, and just like groaning and broken. And then he just kind of like wipes his hands and goes and sits back at his little table. And, you know, picks up his pen and, like, kind of makes a couple of notations.
Okay.
Woman! What does a man have to do to get served here?
All right, so the larger curly-haired woman spins her way over towards you, and he says, "Keep your wiles, ruffian. What hell you have you tonight?"
Blow her a kiss. I'll have a barrel of ale, please.
Barrel.
Big spender we have here.
And one for yourself, darling. So.
Thank you. And she gives a little like wink to you. And then she looks at the rest of you. Will you all be drinking from this barrel?
No, they won't.
He's correct. I'll take at least one by myself. Something strong.
Do you have any mead here?
Sure we do. We do, lad. I'll get you some mead. And she gives Roland a wink when she says that.
And this is the owner lady, right?
It's
Or a
one of
different
the
lady?
2 wenches who seems like they're like they know their shit.
I
And
got
there's like a few servers who are just like slinging drinks here and there, but then there are like these 2 women who kind of like you can see they sort of run the joint, and they're interacting with the barman, like
Right.
whereas the others are just like grabbing drinks and delivering them.
But you said the owner was like a big lady, right?
No, so there's
The big woman.
there is
Yeah.
a big woman who is serving. She's a
Okay.
wench, but
Is that the one Roland's talking to?
that's the one who's at the table with talking to all of you. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Just trying to see which one it was. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's like the smaller, much younger, redheaded, young woman. And she says, before she says, "Well, anything else?"
Ale.
What meat do you serve here?
Fish and the other fish.
I'd go with the
Today's choice
fish.
is fish.
I hear the fish is good tonight.
Do you have any potatoes?
Yeah, I'll see
Alas.
what I can whip up for you.
Potatoes in the pub. Oh, shout my head.
Fish.
Tell me, Tarquin, your people interest me. I know little of them. Is it true, I hear, that your love for beer amongst your people is almost akin to the love for beer in my people?
She's seeing that you get to your conversation. She says, okay. She says, name's Dala. If you need anything, give me a holler. I'll be back with those beers and meat.
Mead?
Meat? She looks at Tuxtrin.
Meat.
Yes. I just kind of wave a hand at one of the random people there. You could cook up one of them if you need to. I just point like randomly to people.
No, you
Real
wouldn't
quick.
want that. Too tough. She gives you a
Nothing's
little
too
wink.
tough for a dwarf.
Casual cannibalism.
All right, so she goes spinning away, and this is kind of what happens over the next little bit. You get these giant barrels. They give you these like mini what is it, a gallon barrel? Is that what? Or is it the 5 gallon? You know what I mean? They're like essentially the mini keg.
Right.
I'm not gonna open. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I don't
open
drink.
The barrel.
I don't know. So
Yeah,
what
I'm
is
gonna open
coming?
the barrel. I actually want a big barrel of ale, as big as I can get. Like
The only thing they're
plan
going to
is-
bring you to your table is one of these like.
It is my table. Put the barrel next to it, and it's my table. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drink from it, but later on I'm going to roll the barrel down to the another area and have a drink with some people. It's for afterwards.
It's like, do you know what I'm talking about? There's like mini barrels.
yeah,
it's like you
a
couldn't
keg.
Yeah, but
possibly.
Roland wants a full one, so whatever he doesn't finish, he's gonna roll and get drunk with the other guys.
I understand
Yes.
this, but they're not bringing
Okay.
you a big barrel into the restaurant.
Fair
Roland,
enough,
we'll
I
just get one. We'll get one out of the back door when we leave.
Okay, I'll just have a few beers then, and I'll have one of those
Yeah,
kegs for
yeah,
later.
they'll
Look
roll
sad.
you one out front, but like
Yeah,
if you
I'll
really
take
want
mini
a
kegs
barrel,
for sure.
If you roll me
Um,
one, I'll pay
all
for it
right,
there then.
so all right, so you get some. So who ordered
after my
beer? Who
confusion-
ordered beer? Who ordered ale? And who ordered mead?
I ordered cheap beer. I'm
Okay.
swigging it.
You all get Waterside Black.
What?
You all get the exact same drink.
That's all. Yeah.
And
What's Waterside Black? Just regular
it's
beer?
it's like a really shitty beer, basically.
It's the champagne of beers.
Oh my god.
It's just it's called black.
I-
It's kind of dark. It's made from swamp water, basically, and it's
Yeah, it's from
it's
it's
strong.
made. Yeah. The water.
think that-
the,
I
The-
take
the
the
brewery
first
prop.
sip, and I put it down. I said, "I have yet to taste real beer since I've been here."
I don't drink it.
It's strong. I mean, it. Well, I should say it doesn't. It's not necessarily strong in alcohol content, but it's strong in
It's swampiness.
Mm.
It kind of fucks you up anyway.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like there's like definitely some shit in there that like makes you
Fermented frog ass.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
there's probably something in there. You
Yeah,
don't
I
know
just
what it is.
I just
Wine.
offer my cup to like anyone else that wants it, even if it's like some.
I mean, I drink it
randomly-
anyway because there's nothing else to drink here.
I mean, if you don't drink it for 3 minutes, somebody takes it off the table.
yeah.
There you go.
point
It's
proper.
gone then.
So what I was going to say is, this beer I've heard about in your peoples, I've heard that you brew a beer so strong that on one draft of it, 1 pint or mug of it, you can work in the mine all day. Specialist beer. Actually feed the miners. Is this true, dwarf?
This is true, and that is not the strongest of our beer.
I so wish to try it.
The strongest of our spirits, we'd kill a non-dwarf. They would twist on the ground in agony.
It is said you are made from stone itself.
Okay, what I want you guys to do for me really quickly, describe your character exactly as they are right now. Like, what is it? How are they sitting? What do they do? Like, what are they? How are they interacting with you right now?
JB is
If
sitting as best as he can with his back to a wall, sipping his hallucinogenic drink slowly so that it doesn't get taken, but he's mainly trying to not draw attention to the fact that he's a half dark elf in what appears to be Middle Earth redneck heaven.
Mhm.
You know what? You probably fit in as a half dark elf. You're
Mm,
probably like, like Han Solo bar. It's like that, isn't it? Like the more shady you are, the more you fit in. It seems, yeah.
He's a wretched hive of scum and villainy. Even still, it's a matter of experience has taught him that he gets judged for how he looks until he cons them into treating him like a hero. So he's just gonna listen right now.
Okay, so Tuctrin is sitting across from Roland. I've got the, empty, mini kegs, more mini kegs coming, describing the greatness of Dwarven Ale and how it's so powerful that's why we have beards. It grows your beard. It's so powerful.
Dwarven Ale ain't shit, says this man as he's like he's obviously been listening to you from across, like from somewhere else. He's got this like bald head, prematurely bald. He's probably like in his 40s, wide eyes, kind of like blood vessels sort of bursting around his eyes. He's probably taken in maybe too many years of Waterside Black. He's what I would describe as skinny fat. So he's skinny, but he's fat. He's got.
He didn't have the muscle tone.
Yeah, he's got like chub around his belly, and he's kind of flabby, like right on his arms. He's like all skinny. He's real long. Let's put his hands on this table, and he says, "Dwarven ale's only good to dwarves. Nobody else will drink it. It's shit, I say."
Yeah, I see you have no beard. It's a dwarven insult, by the way.
How would I show off my beautiful face otherwise?
Like this, and I punch him right in the face.
Oh yes!
Oh Lord.
He's sticking out his chin.
All right, just roll a hit.
16. I don't know if that hits or not.
Oh God, of course that hits.
Well, I mean, I don't know. This guy might be wiry. I don't know what his dex bonus is because I hit
right.
AC minus 1.
You break his face. All right. So,
Crack.
I mean, I give you full narrative control over what happens to him.
Yeah, I just, this isn't like a combat punch, obviously, but he insulted me. I insulted him back, although nobody understood the insult because there are no dwarves here. So I punch him, not hard enough like I'm trying to punch a monster that's trying to kill me, but, hard enough. Does that make sense? So I'm not pulling my punch. So I know punches just 1d2, or is it 1? I don't know how that works.
I think it's a D2. That sounds about right. I mean, actually, it's on their die roll somehow a little bit, but I think it's like 1d2 or whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, and I don't want to put like my full strength bonus into it and hit him for like 6 points.
Do you want to like knock him out?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So like you punch him in the face and like he.
Yeah, I don't want to kill the guy.
I want to say like you hit him and like he goes like, kind of like looks, and then he just like falls back, like his eyes roll back in his head and he just collapses to the ground.
Right.
And there's this uproarious laughter as it happens.
Kick him out, drag him out of his legs.
And you see this, like, in the blink of an eye, like somebody just like squats down next to him and then like disappears into the crowd.
Right.
After.
So they've just stolen his shit.
Yeah, maybe. But then what I'm gonna do is
his shoes disappear.
Yeah. So as soon as he's gone. I'm gonna let out like kind of a boisterous laugh.
Somebody rips an earring out of his ear.
Hey, that's on him. I take a big drink, put the drink down, and I call the winch over. One of the winches. Hopefully she comes over.
All right, so the barman steps around from the counter and goes and stands over the man he knocked out. And he looks around at everybody. He's like progressively like basically looting this guy. He's like,
right.
And he says, "You done? You done?" He looks around at everybody. All right, you grab his other leg, and he picks up one of the legs, starts dragging him outside.
Well,
whenever throw it
outside, flop down like basically on the ground, on the dead or maybe alive or dead body. He just throws him like right on top of that guy.
Well, whenever the winch comes back over, I'm going.
What can I do for you, love?
That man that just got dragged out.
That wasn't a man.
Whoever he is, put 1 on his tab for me later. Like I'd pay for a drink for him to have later, if he survives.
Okay, I'll do that.
So I pay her preemptively for the drink.
She puts it in her.
They won't remember in the morning.
He may or may not, but he had the courage to say his piece to my face, and that deserves at least something.
That is true.
He had the liquid courage to say. All right, so
liquid courage is well known to my people.
Can I
We
describe
fight
my
entire
character?
wars drunk.
Yes, that sounds like a good plan. If you wish to keep your troops happy, you must live by make them with beer and other such happiness. My guy, he's completely unshaven. He's got his ruddy complexion. He's got his one red eye and one brown eye. He's got quite high, heavy brow, oily brown semi-curly hair, one slight fang thing. I'm quite big, like 5'11", but stocky, like broad. I'm wearing studded leather, which is like a bit oily, like it's been well worn. I've got a sword, but it's scabbarded, and I've got like a fucking flail on my leg, ready to smack people. That's my character.
I'm probably following JB's lead with my back to the wall. My main staff and like longbow and backpack and everything
every
are
single
behind the
person in this
cloak.
entire bar has their back to the wall.
Yeah.
But
But I have
nobody
the
trusts anybody, and everybody's just like, there's just this big open area right in the middle of the entire. No, it's fine. I get it though. I get it. You're doing all of you are doing your best to keep yourselves from getting pickpocketed.
Keep as many
the only
people as
stuff isn't
possible.
visible on like the front. I have some of the pouches which I've put some money in, like my spell component pouches, which has little coins like in some of them, and my dagger and regular staff, not the staff of striking, just like the normal quarterstaff. And I'm just watching everyone like the most out of place person that's ever existed in the bar.
All right, so this is great. Now I want you all to tell me, in as much honesty as you can, as a player, if you were to reach into your bag and pull out money to make a financial transaction, how much money would be in your hand?
One of my pouches.
And
Let's
just
say,
into a-
like,
into a
I'm
pouch,
about to buy something, and you reach in your hand and you pull out some money, and you're like gonna like give them their money. How much money would you have in your hand if you did that?
Oh, easily like 10 gold or so.
That's what I'm just trying to kind of ask. Like, what
About 10
everybody?
coins.
It doesn't even have to be 10 gold. It could be random coins.
Yeah, 10 random coins.
Ready cash, about 20 coins.
So I've split mine up between different bags like a psychopath. So it depends how much it is. So it's like I've got like one bag that's got
That
gold
makes
pieces
perfect
in
sense
it,
for
one
your
bag that's got
character.
like a copper piece in it, another bag that's got silver pieces in it.
I love it, dude.
Most
I
of
love
my
it that your guy's crazy. People don't know that you're crazy.
most of my liquid cash is in the bank back in Hommlet.
Right. All right. So, anyway, would you like to do anything?
Yes.
Or is there? Yes. Okay. Because essentially, you can pass the time here how you will. You've established a certain level of. I mean, you knocked a dude out. You kind of have done what you needed to do to be relatively unmolested. So
I pay for a gypsy fiddle to be played for a bit. If there's one there, or gas the bar to play the fiddly tune. And I have a dance with a woman, and then I go looking for either an arm wrestling competition, or a fight, like a pit fight, or a gambling game.
okay, how much has
I know.
Roland been? How much has Roland been drinking?
Oh, he's only a good 4 or 5 pints, but he can probably drink about 12.
Really?
I-
Even of the insanity brew?
I don't know, that's up to Bob. I am like a crazy near half orc with like mega con, so it's up to him, innit?
Chris and I have played a million games together. I feel like we'll vibe off of this just fine. I don't think we'll
Yeah,
figure.
so I'm happily merrily pissed, but not like so I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, and that's what I do. And I just wander around, and if anybody wants to crew around with me,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Who's going with Roland and who's just gonna like get a spot at the hostel
I was going to roll him because I was going to find out what gypsies are in some dice game he was telling me about.
Well, you're about to find out what gypsies are. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I butter up the women like with like a bit of a bribe and some winks, and say, "Oh, have you seen my woman? Like, what's her name? Somebody pick a gypsy name."
Wanda.
Lyra.
Esmeralda.
Esmeralda.
You seen Esmeralda?
Or Zelda would be good too, but Esmeralda's great.
Esmeralda, then. Okay, I don't mind what her name is. Like I say, Esmeralda, have you seen her? Or is she out on the river? Is she in port? Is she about?
Okay, so before we get into that specifically, because I do want to I think that'd be really fun. So that's going to require a change of locale. And we're going to play it a little bit different. So Tuctrin is going to go with Roland. Who's else is going with Roland? Or is that it?
That might be it.
JB going to stay. You can also go and hook up with Almon and hang out with him. Basically, if I didn't get into it, but you're essentially welcome there.
It's open town, isn't it?
He's expressed a certain level of friendship with you. I mean, I would say, let's say that.
If he lets me put my tent like outside his cabin.
Yeah, that's fine. He's happy to have you there. That's fine. And he does put up some protective wards and stuff, which will sort of benefit your safety as well.
Okay.
Let's see here. All right, so okay. So Roland and Tuctrin head on. So the two of you get a fairly good buzz going. Tuctrin's had a couple of these giant barrels of this psychedelic beer, Waterside Black, and Roland has had like 4 or 5 pints. Neither one of you has had so much to drink that it would normally be too bad, but yes, you're invoking spirits of a new brew here, and you stagger your way through the town, and you've kind of joined up with like a group of people who will say you got some of these gypsies to play. What was the instrument you wanted them to play?
Like a fiddle.
Okay.
A violin.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go to your waterside area.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear too. I don't know. I'm not trying to use the word gypsy as a I don't know if that's an incorrect. We're not talking about real life world gypsies. Like this is
exactly.
These are
disclaimer.
Disclaimer out there. This is not because from what I understand, there are no real world gypsies. They do not choose to call themselves that, and we're not in any way making any sort of relation to that.
You can call them Ravnos.
They're the fantasy trope.
Fantasy trope
gypsies.
The Ravnos, we call them whatever.
The Reni or Rani, because there's different tribes. I mean, shit. But anyway, carry on, Bob.
I just felt like we should just at least say that.
Yeah, that's a good mention. Let's see. Yeah, man. Summon a crew of gypsies and get down to the riverside.
So you get
some music and beer, more beer.
Exactly. That's exactly what happens. So apparently they have come in on like a riverboat that's like a house. Like a party, like a riverboat house. They go up and down the river, stopping at little settlements, and going here and there and meeting with people, and people come and go on this boat that goes up and down, and we'll say Esmeralda was one of those who used to travel up and down on this boat, but she didn't make the trip to Nulb this time around. So your heart will ache for Esmeralda for a time longer from here.
Is her sister here? So,
Perfect. No, yes, we'll say Miriam is.
okay. I had come to pay my dowry, and to ask, and to be kind, and to have fun with your family. But
All right, well,
does not
you're saying, okay, so you're saying, so this is all happening, like, as the two of you are staggering down the street with this group, and I don't know how much I want to reveal about my history of drug use, but there are certain drugs which are reported by some, not me, to kind of give this sort of time skipping feel.
Oh, yes.
And a very sort of like disconnected in a way. So you're kind of going through these moments, and it's like you're both of you, and presumably them as well, where things are very, very disconnected. So you're kind of having this conversation, and then all of a sudden you're in a tavern. You're in a place that you have no idea what happened. You're there all of a sudden.
Cool.
And it's you kind of look around and you see you're basically in this big warehouse that in one corner of which has been like, there's these kind of makeshift walls and things that have been built up to create like a tavern within this warehouse. So there's like literally like crates and barrels and stuff, like as you look out, you must have stumbled your way. You kind of, now you're sitting there, you kind of remember like, oh God, I remember we stumbled our way through these barrels, and like, Roland tried to like pick one up and open it and drink something.
Yeah, definitely. Who's this barrel? Sell me the barrel.
Fish oil. It was fish oil. He thought it was loud. So now there's like this really strong smell of fish. But everybody smells like fish now, so who even knows what's happening. But all your weapons are well oiled. But anyway, so you're in this place, and it's not really a oh, I have to roll my d6 now, Chris. This is the moment of truth.
Oh yeah, who
We're gonna see if he's here. Now you're looking for Grud. All right.
Yeah.
You roll the d6 for me. Roll
me.
Yes.
Hang on then.
This is just too fun. So there is a random chart within this, and it describes who is in port, who's here at any one time, and they are a very interesting cast of potential characters that you can run into. And Chris is speaking of one particularly interesting character.
That's right, and I really want to smack him. I'm trying to find a dice roller.
I hope you roll them. You're probably not gonna, though.
I'm rolling dice pane. What is it for Grud?
Just tell me what you rolled.
Okay, exclamation space.
It's a 4.
1d6.
It's Grud.
Oh, it's a 6.
Oh, check again. Rolling 1d4. So roll d4.
That's right. Yeah. 1d4. Oh no. Oh, 3. He will be here. But now, let us get even drunker.
Oh man, they don't have a picture of Grud. Bummer. That would have been cool. What'd you get on the D4?
3.
3.
3. 3, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right. All right. So you see, like, yeah, we're doing this. So Roland and Tuctrin, the two of you kind of come to, and you are sitting at a table, like in this place. It's a basically like a barrel with a plank of old boat on the top of it, so it's sort of shaped like a rowboat, the table that you're at, and it's been nailed down to that. And we'll say, Tucktrin, you're sitting on a sturdy stool, and Roland, you got a bucket that you're sitting on at this table, and you're sitting at the table with this man who is sitting on this ridiculous chair. It is gold and it's got like this curved design all over it with this purple velvet cushions, and you're looking at him, and his hair he's got this like long dirty blonde hair, and it looks like it's like moving in waves, but that's just the drink. It's kind of moving in waves. And he's got this like ruddy kind of like beard, but he's got these piercing blue eyes, and he has a hat on too that seems to be made out of it's kind of like it has a rim all the way around it, but it kind of goes up into a bit of a point like up here at the top, but it looks like it's made out of like some sort of skin, some sort of animal skin, like a reptile skin, as is his vest. He's got this like thick vest on, like thick as heavy armor thick. Wow. But it seems to be made out of something, some sort of reptile kind of thing, and his chest is open. He's got a little bit of hair, kind of little fluffy hair. And he's looking at you, and there's something very seductive about him. Like, he just looks at you, and like he's, the way he looks down over at you, there's like, he's exuding charisma. I mean, just exuding charisma. And he, he picks up his cards, and he kind of takes a look at him, and you realize that you have cards in your hand. Each of you have cards in your hands.
Okay.
He says, all right, so you're in this situation. I have no idea what card game we're playing. I just made all this up. So let's just say, because you're in the middle of this, how shall we play the gambling game here? What skills might you bring to bear which would help you be good at gambling? Make me an argument for something that you might use, and I invite creativity here.
Okay.
Do I know who this guy is?
You wanna? I mean, I am sure you know who this is, but
I think I know who it is.
they don't give you a description, so I can choose however he looks like. You know what I mean? So, you might know who. You have like local history or something, don't you?
A military streamer. That's about it. Military. You look like some kind of king, I say.
He smiles and he says, let's get this voice right. You could say that. I would say that'd be fair. King of this shithole here, for whatever that means. You gonna bet, or you want another card?
So what I have is, I have alertness. Okay, generally not a gambling, right? But you said be creative. Everybody has a tell when they gamble.
Oh, I like it.
So maybe using alertness to spot his tell when he's bluffing, because he's this charismatic king kind of guy. When he's not, maybe he touches a certain card here or there. So kind of looking at alertness.
I like that. Now, remind me though, doesn't alertness only provide a benefit? It's not a proficiency check. Is that right?
There is a proficiency check for it.
Oh, there is. Okay.
There's one listed for it.
Okay, so there's a stat listed and stuff.
There is.
Okay, I think that's great. What about Roland? What's kind of Roland? How is Roland trying to play his hand here? How is he trying to win this?
Well, like, to me, it's just more of a social thing. But I've played a lot of card games as a soldier. Also, like I'm chaotic neutral, so I'm very unpredictable with my betting strategies, and often fold what could look like good hands when he could be bluffing me, but other times stick with absolute shit like 2-7, and then it comes through.
So what are you trying to tell me you're gonna do?
Oh,
Be chaotic, just like what he just said.
yeah.
All right, so you're essentially trying to like enact the laws of chaos to
Oh, yeah.
rule in your
I'd
favor.
play- yeah, to throw him off his game.
So you're just playing like basically, you're using random odds.
Well, okay, I used to be a poker dealer. Right, it's a casino.
This is perfect then, dude. That's
Right,
great.
and there's a
Tell me-
guy called Louis Savaz who was one of the most annoying poker players on earth. Like, he would spend time between each hand, go to the bar, come back, damage a card if he didn't like the deck, things like that. But the most annoying thing was he would spend too much time talking to the other player. So that's what I kind of do. I'm trying to like find out who he is as I take my time betting.
I love this idea. I think this is a great idea. I think the only problem with it is that Roland is terrible at doing this very thing. So what I'm going to say for you then, okay, so let's do alertness for you, Dom, for Tuctrin, and Chris for Roland. I think it's got to be a charisma check.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because you're trying. Charisma is also when you're trying to manipulate somebody in a way. You know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind. It's also default gambling, so I'm cool. Hang on. On my character. It's just here.
Yep, I passed my check. I almost can't fail it.
Here I am.
And do I get any negatives? Like, is he that good?
It's an opposed roll, so I would actually roll for him too, and it would be who rolled. Well, no, that's not what I'm actually doing right now. That's not what's happening right now. It's not actually to win the game. What's happening right now is winning his respect and
I say
rolling for the next scene. Essentially, is what's happening right now.
Okay, well, I passed the check then.
I had come to this place to seek honor with the gypsy captain and help to stake some kind of to live near you at least while I'm here in Nulb and try and learn your ways. For there is a woman I am most keen on. I would give up my left leg. I said. I bought a gold.
Okay. Stop right there. So you remember that, and then you're
on my D20. A 3? Fucking have that on my D20. A 3.
Awesome.
I'm rolling in dice pane. Can you see it, or do you want to? Can you see?
No, I trust you. I trust you. I just want to kind of fast forward to the sort of
conclusion.
Yeah. So by this point, like, well, actually, both of you make saving throw versus poison.
Exclamation.
Okay.
I know it's really good for Tuctrin.
Yeah, it's really good for me. Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah.
I mean, but it is possible to fail, though. That's the thing, you know.
It is possible to fail, but no, not even close to failing. I needed a 5.
How did Roland do?
I rolled a 4.
You rolled a 4, so you're okay. So you're essentially going to be out of action here,
Okay.
and completely out of control for your character as the stuff overtakes you. The poison of it basically overtakes you. So at what you kind of emerge and you're on the beach. You're like basically on the river beach, and you and Roland and this guy, this pirate. He's apparently some sort of pirate leader. His name's Nulb.
Okay.
And he is like really well respected but you seem to have earned some sort of admiration from him. You don't know exactly what happened, but you kind of this vague sensation that things went well at the card game that you were playing.
I don't even know the name of the card game we were playing.
Yeah, I don't even know. Nobody knows. So you're playing the game that you were playing.
I know the name of the game. That's the only thing I do remember. It was called Go Johnny Go 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 Go.
All right, well, you're gonna have to remember that forever now. Maybe I should name this episode "Go Johnny Go 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 Go." So you end up moving. At some point, you move down to this like beach area, right? And there are several smaller boats, and there's like this large riverboat, kind of out in the water. And they're kind of like there's a signal going back and forth. Nulb has like a lantern in hand, and he's making like these lighted signals, and then some from the larger boat is flashing. And then he kind of gives us a nod, and he says, "Right, it's time that we load everything up." He says, "Roland, Tuctrin, I didn't expect to make new mates of ye, but it's been good knowing you." And Roland, you're blasted. You maybe you give him a hug or something. I don't know. It gets weird. But Tuctrin, you're able to interact in whatever way you would like.
It's like that little snatch, isn't it, at the funeral?
Oh, make a perception check, for Tuctrin.
Oh Lord, do I have any negatives from the drinks or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Not in this case. You made your save, so you're not negative.
No, I failed that miserably.
Okay, so you do notice something, but you're gonna remember it after the fact.
I gotcha.
So I will tell you that after the fact. You would have remembered it beforehand if you made your perception check. So yes, he reaches out his hand to sort of,
Yeah, I give him the strong dwarven handshake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he returns it. You see, he's got like
your ways are mysterious.
Yeah, you look at him, and he's like, imagine like he's a riverman. He's like a riverboat.
Right.
He's a riverman. Like he's like kind of like combination between, like an airboat pilot and Crocodile Dundee. You know what I mean? He's like,
which is weird to me because I live inside a mountain.
Yes, but he's also super charismatic. So like, like people are flocking to him, and like he's giving orders, and he's like very likable too. So anyway, he gives you a handshake, and you see, and this is what you're going to remember later. You see, they like load up a few extra crates onto these boats, but as they're in order to load them on, they had to unload some stuff. And during the process of some of these men unloading things, like one of the crates broke open, and you saw within were like these red robes with sort of like elemental fire symbols on them. And the men didn't seem to give a shit about what was in there. They just like repacked it back up and picked it back up and continued on.
And it meant nothing to me at the time. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
No, it didn't process at all, like at the moment. But you did see that happen.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say you all wake up the next morning at the waterside hostel. All four of you. And Roland, you are very hungover.
Do I wake up with like a ace of spades in my hand or something, or like a joker?
Yeah.
Clutched tightly in my hand. Like you wake up, you go to wipe your face, like you're like, what that? You got like a card, you're like, the hell?
I was thinking I might wake up in a barrel on the dock, but okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. No, that's fine.
Amazing.
That's fine. So Tuctrin, let's get to this card. So there's a card. You do have a card in your hand, and it's the Prince of let's do this. It's the Prince of Hearts, but but it's been modified to make the prince look like a dwarf, kind of like a dwarf, really poorly. like very poorly modified to make the prince's head look like a dwarf. Like where like there's been like
They scribbled a beard on him and like
Yeah,
made
like,
the nose really big and then
vaguely
like
it's
cut the
supposed
legs
to look
off.
like
and...
you, right? It's like
Right.
it's supposed to be you, I guess. It's like clutched in your hand.
Nice. I will
Um,
put that away because it might mean something. It might be a like, hey,
Yeah.
you stole some of my stuff, give it back card later.
Can I
Um,
give to Nulb, my dowry, a 50 gold piece necklace for
Yeah.
Esmeralda?
So when I wake up, when I get my faculties about me, I'm gonna check my gear. I was
Okay,
warned
yeah.
like 10 times that we're gonna get robbed. So.
No, Tuctrin and Roland, both of you have all of your gear.
Oh wow. Okay.
Mhm.
I will clean up then.
I mean, you were
Well-
essentially under the protection of Tolub for most of the night, so that really helped you. What about sorry, Greyash, go on ahead, because you guys
Yeah.
have been off of the map.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Where am I waking up?
No, didn't you guys stay at? Oh no, you wake up in your tent.
Okay, okay, I was very.
Wake up at 10, and in fact, you wake up and there is a little like you open the ties on your tent and you kind of peer out because you smell this delicious smell. There is there's a fire there, and hanging over the fire is this pot, and you can smell this like delicious scent referred to by different names in different places. I personally love the term tarbean tea, otherwise known as coffee on our world, is being brewed, and it seems to be some very good coffee from the region from which Alman has come. And you can see now Alman is in very different gear. He looks like he's in wizardly robes, but very much like you. Like he was kind of in like these traveling clothes. Now he's in this very much in this collector space. He's all ready. He's like completely ready to go, but he's got like lots of bags and pouches and sacks, and you can see he has like a like a belt with you can see that they're like sort of leather I don't know what you'd call them, but basically places to have little like tubes and things like that for collecting samples,
like bandoliers.
Yeah, like a bandolier. Exactly, a bandolier, but like with like little tubes and stuff for him to collect things. And he's got all this gear on, and he definitely looks sort of like you never really saw him clean and like sort of refreshed. And so yeah, he says, well, good morning. He says, I hope you rested well.
Good morning. Yes, it was a nice uneventful night.
Yes, a few of my traps did go off and alerted me in time, but I sent Rapscallion at them, scared them off.
It was Rapscallion.
Oh, Rapscallion. And you see that he nods to a little he kind of looks back to his wagon or his carriage, and you see like just peering from underneath the opening, and it's kind of like dawn, so it's just the barest light. You see this little raccoon head.
Oh,
Is that your familiar?
Yes, but he's more than that. He's my friend. We have been companions for some time now, and I've been able to extend his life. Just thanks to
I'm glad the
my
trolls
knowledge
did
of
not get to
potions.
them.
Oh yes, I sent him running as soon as there was danger. We often spend time apart, but I believe that we will do this next part together.
These treasures are.
He says, "Do you not travel with a familiar?"
No, I do not have one of my own.
He says,
Man,
well,
we missed the chance to make a really great joke at one of our expenses.
true. That would have been a good moment there. He says,
Mm.
he says,
Oh,
he
there's the
says,
dwarf.
I would. He says, I would not deign to say what is best for one wizard over another, as we are all distinct personalities, and I can see, based on what little I've caught of you and your magic, that you are even perhaps more distant from the usual of our kind than most. But there is much to be gained in my belief of summoning a familiar to work at your side. And if that is something that you desire, I will say this region is good for multiple opportunities, and I could possibly provide you with a scroll that you could use for this kind of summoning.
I'd very much appreciate that.
He says, it is the least I could do. He says, although I consider ourselves becoming friends, I would hope that this would also put an end to the debt, at least that I owe you. It seems that I might owe a bit more to your companions. They seem to have more a more base calling in their hearts than perhaps you and I do.
I have a scroll that might interest you as well, though you might already know it, considering your focus. I have a water breathing scroll.
Truly. He says that would be of great use for me. Surely, though, that is a much more valuable spell than Find Familiar is. Perhaps I could offer you something else as well. I can actually send you his list of spells. If you want to do a trade. It's water breathing's a 3rd level spell, right?
Yeah, it's 3rd level.
His 3rd level spells are Dispel Magic, Fireball, Suggestion, and Tongues. Although I guess he might give you Find Familiar, and he has 2nd level spells of Audible Glamour, Continual Light, Levitate, Ray of Enfeeblement, and Web.
And is Find Familiar 1st or 2nd level spell?
First. It's 1st level spell.
Oh. You only need to cast it once though, right? From the scroll? You don't need to cast it every time. Because I literally can't load any more 1st level spells.
No, you just cast it from a scroll.
Okay.
You don't have to learn the spell. You just cast from the scroll, and then you can use it. He offered you a scroll. He can write scrolls and he can create potions, so like basic potions if he has the time and inclination. Sorry,
I'd
guys.
have
I know
to
there's
look
been
up
a
what all
little
this
bit
stuff
more
does, so...
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you want to give me
We
the
don't have to
list?
do-
What was
we-
the 2nd level ones?
God, I wish this was. It's
Audible
straight out of a
Glamour.
book. So, Audible Glamour, Continual Light, Levitate, Ray of Enfeeblement, and Web.
Audible Glamour, Continual Light, Radio of Enfeeblement,
I think you missed Levitate.
Web, and Levitate, yeah.
Levitate's good.
Okay. B.
He does have Fireball though too.
Thank you.
I mean, you can
So it's
consider it. Yeah,
spells
just consider
here. Tune into next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, anyway, he says, we can discuss such matters when we have more time. I have no doubt that your companions will be awaiting you. I saw that they seem to have all gathered back at, or for the most part, the others have gathered back at the Waterside Hostel. I left word for them there that their horses, those that remain, are stabled with the smithy. I might recommend a trip there to the smithy yourself anyway to speak with the man. He may be somebody of interest to you.
Maybe. Is there a less chaotic place to stay in this town than that tavern?
He says... He points to your tent.
Fair enough.
He says, the way I look at it is this, is that you have the waterside hostel, which on the surface seems like a pretty chaotic place. But then if you go to the boatman's tavern, you see that the waterside hostel was nothing to be concerned about at all. And then if you were to take it a further step, I can only imagine that the Temple of Elemental Evil would be one step further towards something horrible. So the waterside hostel then seems not so bad. Although, that's coming from the mouth of someone who will be spending his time in a carriage rather than in that rat-infested shithole.
Well,
There's a quieter place to stay, but it's about 2 days' ride away. It's called the Welling Winch.
Yeah, right.
We are commuting heroes.
You know what's slightly closer, although this doesn't really matter much at all, probably, is the Wyvern Cave. Is about a day's journey from where you are.
Okay, so we've basically been here.
So it's a day's journey into the hills, into the Cron Hills to the west. So like, it's
Okay,
just...
so I probably saved these people too.
Although it doesn't seem like they care.
I know.
So let's get to let's get everybody back together here. So Roland, will you eventually make your way back to the group?
Of course I will. I'm just there whenever the next scene is.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. And my apologies for so much side action here, but this is the role play of the game, right? So you get you get back to the everybody. You kind of wake up into the waterside hostel. Believe it or not, there are actually still some people drinking from the night before. Some people who came in, on boats overnight are like in there drinking. And I don't know if any of you lived through your 20s, but I can tell you one thing: there's nothing I like less than being around people drinking and having a good time in a bar when I'm hungover.
Yeah.
Than when I'm hungover. So that's the situation you walk into, and as you do, Dala, and Roll, we'll say you stumble in, like the rest of the group is like kind of like coming out of have maybe plopped down at a table after coming out of the Greyhawk looks pretty good. JB, you're probably fine too. Although if you're not a deep sleeper, you probably were woken up a lot of times.
I was woken up quite a bit, but having only had about a half of my insanity brew of death, I'm not feeling nearly as bad as some of the other party members.
Yeah. I had you
some Tarbine tea though.
Oh, well, you would love some of that Tarbine tea. Here it's I guess you could call it Tarbine tea. You know, like cowboys used to like drink that kind of tea, like the coffee that was just like the grinds, and they would like keep making the cup of coffee from it over and over and over again, and like that's kind of what you're drinking right now. The stuff that Grey Ash had was actually fresh coffee. Did you hear the music when that happened?
Yeah. I did.
Wake up to a cup of
it's like an
almonds brew. He's like kind of an alchemist, so. All right, so so the group of you get back together. Roland, you come in, and at that point, as you come in, Dala comes skipping in, and she slaps Roland across the face. And here's your bloody potato. And she gives you a raw potato. and turns on her heels and storms back into the bar room. It was like she was waiting for you to walk through the front door.
Potato.
She slapped you and handed you a raw potato.
I look at it bemused. It must be love, I say. Can I remember back what I did or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Not one bit.
And she
All right,
steamed off. Okay. Okay.
So they are serving potatoes and eggs and stuff like that this morning, and is this as foul as this place was, and you probably want to stay away from the fish at this point, but it does provide you with a little bit of succor. And by the time you're done with
Suckers.
breakfast and everything like that, you're all fine. You're all back to normal. That being said, let's see here. It is a blisteringly hot and sunny day. What was mud and thick, slime and sludge before has quickly become rock hard rivets, ruts, and essentially like a difficult terrain. To the streets have turned into that, which you saw, Roland, as you were approaching. It was getting hard by then. By the time that you finish eating, that's the situation. What would you like to do?
Discuss, but away from listening ears. I suggest we go and take a fishing rod down to the shitty lake and pretend to fish and have a chat for 5 minutes.
Not a bad plan.
I want a case while we're fishing. Are there any of the pirates in? Are there any gypsies in? I know to the left and stuff. And as we walk or relocate the scene, I remind everybody, I go, oh yes. Do you remember last night when we were drinking and we were moving those crates?
And then
Tuckton, do you remember?
And I'm kind of looking off a little bit. I'm still trying to shake off some of the haze, and I'm yes. Red robes with symbols of fire on them.
That's the one. Yes.
What does it mean?
That's a good question. Do you know?
Would I know? Would that be religion?
No,
or would
him
that
there.
be
Look,
total
I'm
obscure?
pointing at him, the mage. Does
Oh,
he know?
I'm asking Rob if I would know.
I mean, I
That
think
might be
you
too
can
obscure
also-
for me, right?
Well, no, I was actually going to argue the opposite. I was going to argue that this is something that you can kind of bring in some of the knowledge that you've gained. I mean, this is essentially session 20. I mean, I think at this point, like you've been talking about elemental cults, and I don't think it's outrageous for you to make these just.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure. I didn't know if this was like some different specific. Okay, then I say, oh yes, this is the elemental cult of fire. I believe we've seen this symbol previously. We must be close to their temple.
I look surprised because I forget often that you're a priest. I totally forget. You're a priest all the while, and that you know religious shit. I go, oh, the temple of fire. Well, fire is an element.
It is, and a destructive but necessary one.
Now, why would they be bringing robes?
Well, obviously, robes that would have to be transported in crates would probably be used for acolytes or some type of ceremony, I would assume.
Cast my rod, my line, into the shitty water, Rob. If we've moved.
Okay, yeah. So you're down there, and it's blistering hot. This area has been totally cut, so they're like you're basically like sitting amongst like reeds and weeds and mud, and you're either in mud or it's like ruddy and like super hard. There's insects everywhere, so you're like having this conversation, and it's like, yeah, nobody's around you because who the fuck would want to be there?
Yeah, that's my
I
plan.
mean, it's a horrible place to be.
Where's that fucking spell? Protection from insects. So,
Well, that is a
yes.
spell.
Is
Protection from vermin.
there?
that's I don't think that includes insects though. I think that's like rats and stuff
Hmm.
like that.
Paladins, you know.
So, why would you buy? Why would you get new red robes? Why would you get them? Yeah, you say that it could be in acolytes. Well, what does acolytes mean? What's the
Acolytes mean a temple, which mean priests, which means rituals or magic of some type. Typically, worshipping of somebody or something.
Ceremonial things we don't have much use for here.
But my point is that they're getting these robes, new robes. I mean, do they go through them a lot? Maybe it means they get more priests.
Either they're growing or
That's
they're
the word.
replenishing their numbers because their numbers have been slain for some reason, or they're used for those that are used in a sacrifice.
I had not thought of that. Yes, to enroll people to sacrifice them. Maybe
That is
they'll
also another
sacrifice-
possibility. I don't know the exact nature of this particular cult.
Can we remember what the sign looked like and like redraw it in the mud?
Yeah.
I believe so, and I'd draw it in the mud.
Look, everybody, this is the sign. Like the pack, we observe it. I look at it for a moment. We should know it then. when we
It's
see
like,
it.
you know, this even as you're kind of drawing it, like you're not really drawing it quite right, and there's like it's weird because it's not like that it's some sort of like particularly, you know, on the surface crazy fire symbol or anything like that, but when you draw it, like there's like, I don't know, it's like, you know, that feeling as they describe it, like where somebody's walked over your grave or something like that. You kind of get that shift, like you draw this symbol and it's like nothing, but then you're like, it kind of gives you that like chill, and you kind of like look around like, oh, maybe you don't, you know, like maybe
Like
even,
messing with a Ouija.
yeah, you like you just like rub it out with your foot like inadvertently, like you're just like, you kind of scrape, oh, what am I doing, you know what I mean? You have that like moment of just like there's something about it that is bothersome, even though it's not. It seems totally mundane, like on the surface. There's some sort of wickedness, like right now there's some sort of kind of, the flames are of the elemental fire seem to be licking at this area, perhaps.
Do
Do I sense that? It's like,
you know what? Sorry, go on.
no, it's
I thought it was just a pertinent like bit of camera action there by Bob. It's very nice. I can imagine seeing the sign being written stuff and the heat. Look, there's a dead dog, I say, as I pull my line back in with the dead dog on. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like sweat like pouring down your you know, your faces, your, you know, it's,
Let's leave this shit place.
you're getting eaten alive by bugs, you know.
Yeah.
I don't feel safe stopping anywhere here, you know, unless it's near the gypsies who I half trust. But if we cannot camp near them, maybe we should camp elsewhere. I don't know. It is up to you to decide.
I mean, it's morning, so what do you guys want to do? Are you going to go to the temple? You overnight, you know, just in kind of gathering your information, pooling your information, everything that you've gotten together. And we're going to kind of wrap up the session here because it is 10 o'clock, but I want to kind of put this out there. You were able to, the temple's not but 2 hours away. I mean, you can be there in just a couple of hours. It's about 2 hours away from here. You take the road south along the river, which eventually cuts in and heads on down to the temple. It's let's just kind of narratively, maybe we'll.
Have you got tents and stuff? Have you got like a tent?
I've got a tent, but it's only a small tent.
Same.
Because it might be worth just leaving then. Maybe this place.
Yeah.
And going and camping or heading to the temple and camping near there, or observing the temple.
As far as I know, my lost dwarven brothers may be in or near this temple. I would like to see if that is the case.
Very well.
Can we pop by the blacksmith on the way out? Our friend from the road told me that they're more reputable than the rest of the folk around here. Maybe they can.
That's a good idea. I need my sword sharpening.
Also, it's the blacksmith and stable, the smithy and stable. So that's your horses are there. What remains?
Oh, great.
Are there?
Let's go there then.
Right.
Let's go there then, and I'll have my shoes done on my horse and my sword sharpened, and you can talk to. I whisper. Isn't Elmo's brother? Isn't he the
I'm not sure.
What? Oh, what's his name again?
All right, so you're thinking that as you move into the blacksmith shop and you hear the and you kind of move into the
that is music.
and the man there's this huge man. He's got this big leather vest on, and that leather apron on, thick arms, thick legs. He's got this sort of this I guess he has a sort of a shade that goes over his eyes while he's banging at this stuff to a certain
Rob.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Forged in Fire. Could it be that busy forging something amazing that we have to wait 15 minutes just at a game and watch it?
Fucking yes. And yeah, so you watch this. There's a whole there's a montage scene. All right, and so when he does that, he walks over and he pulls off his big gloves and he removes the there's got to be a picture of Otis in here. See if we can get a picture of Otis. Oh yeah, look at this guy.
Don't look.
This is not what I expected him to look like. Amazing. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, there he is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does he resemble his father? That I recognize.
He resembles his father and he resembles his brother to a certain extent. He says, "Welcome. Name's Otis. I've been wondering when you were going to show up." And we'll go ahead and we'll stop it right there at the meeting of Otis. I actually don't know if I can play in 2 weeks. I'm going to see what maybe can happen. Maybe you guys want to try to do next week? Since I can't do 2 weeks, or do you want to say 3 weeks from now?
Either works for me.
Either's fine.
Let's see. Next week, see. I should be good next week.
We can talk offline and figure it out. But hey, if you listened to this whole episode, you've gotten to the end of episode 20, and that means that they've whoever did that has listened to us talk for 60 fucking hours. So they are so many levels above Frank at this point that I just want to say thank you for listening and watching us to this epic music as we end another session of the Temple of Elemental Evil. Guys, thanks for playing. I really do appreciate it. It was
Someday
fun.
we'll get to the temple.
Hey, you're not far away. It could be next session.
It could be.
Next session. So
Thoroughly enjoyed that game. Wonderful.
we had to spend some time getting the feel of Nulb. You know how it is. So
There's a wretched hive of scum and villainy, and that's just us.
Oh, that's fun. All right, guys, we'll talk soon, and thanks to everybody who is out there watching, and have a great night, y'all.
Take it